Hi guys, how you? How you doing? Sorry, I'm happy to be taking a break. Ugh. So, CP Chris Pafford, sorry, said his name Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. If sorry, I'm tired. If you see something, if you see him, please call the TBI FBI and the Tennessee cops. Okay, that PCA is going on. Okay, sorry. The poet's not too young. I'm gonna be watching Granny Watson today because Chris Pafford was on today, and yeah, I'm gonna talk about some things. But first, I have to thank Bertos for getting on to Gio's ass last night. He kept back because he kicked so much butt. Thank you, Bertos, for saying, I agree with you. Okay, let's get into Granny's versus. Oh, oh my god, I'm going to how sad I am. I'm going to put when he has a problem with this is oh my god. Uh Cuts was nuts. Let's do this. This is Granny Watson and just went. This is her on the right here. I don't know why she doesn't. I need to ask people about that because okay. But you shut the hell up. Apparently, you have nothing to say. So
Busy tending to the
let's go back. Because Christmas on fire.
Don't,
Yes,
Pascal.
I don't think you're right
Not
on that.
trial.
I don't think
Well,
you're right on that.
Look at
she's had her
that.
appeal because we went
Right.
last time before last for her appeal and it was granted. Then the last one that we had was her pretrial.
Right.
Let me say this. Granny Watson did nothing wrong. I agree with everything that she said. But I didn't get my ass up to ask Chris put some question like I wonder if the search that jets is behind the house, how the search that jets is the two light videos like for the trust truck fast light. I'm confused on that. And also I really want to know what's gonna happen after he gets home alive. If he's alive now. Whose house is she going to? But I don't know.
So, oh, sorry, I got you in the way, little horses.
So
What this says over here, I mean, granted, it could be wrong, but it says,
sorry.
although specific requirements vary by jurisdiction. A grand jury, a group of citizens hears evidence presented by the prosecution, decides whether to indict, and then an indictment formally accuses an individual of committing a crime. So she still would get a trial, I would
Yeah, she
think.
get a trial,
Yes.
but she go to prison, and then while she's then at the trial.
It's kind of like what they did with the Brian Koberger case. He was originally arrested and charged but then they also took it to a
They
grand
took it-
jury.
Don't pass.
Their jury meet.
But she is still under bond.
Chris, can
Yes,
I
ma'am.
ask? Because she's still speaking about you and your wife. That will go against.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
She's
Now,
gonna ask it either way. She just says that to say that.
no, I was
Hi,
actually
Liam.
wait, Granny, this time, okay. But if the state picks it up with you and Katie and your family being the victims of this, case against her, will the state give y'all a victim's advocate that will like tell y'all like if Betty's in jail or whatever? I know they do that for other cases. I just don't know how it works with a violation of a restraining order, which would be criminal.
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. There's always a possibility, but me speaking before I know would be wrong. So I don't know. I would think that they would, and go from there.
Chris,
Okay,
can I ask
thank
you?
you.
Are you getting any additional help from law enforcement or a advocate regarding your son being missing and all what's been happening?
Right now, we're not going to speak on that. We were talking about Betty, and I'm gonna leave it at Betty.
No,
Everything
I'm just
involving
saying,
my son right now, we
I
just
don't-
kind of leave it alone.
Yeah.
I
get
do
it.
hope that you are getting help and
So
support.
this somebody asked, can more charges be brought to the grand jury? I would
Yes.
believe yes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like here's an example, right? Like when people keep saying because they don't know how to read a record. An example would be when you get like I don't know how to say it. Basically, what they'll do is they'll put a ton of little charges. The police will anyhow, and this way, when you go to the first hearing, usually at lower court, they'll act like they're doing a deal with you, right? Like we'll drop these smaller things, but we're still going to prosecute you on this. I can see them doing the same thing when it comes to Betty. Now, I wouldn't know, but that would be my bet is that there's going to be more charges brought.
If there are, we'll find out May 23rd.
May 23rd.
Right now, it is at least 6 charges as of right now. Don't know anything else until May 23rd.
Yeah. I just hope it ends. There's so many other things that should be going on right now. This shouldn't be it. Like even today, her title. It's like, who the fuck do you think you are, lady? How would she know what the police told you and what they didn't? She needs to fuck off.
Well, to answer that question, keep in mind who her source is. Her source is Seth. Okay.
Right.
But outside of that, there's one big thing that we all have to remember here. Yes, all of this is currently going on, but on the civil side of the house is the appeal. If the appeals court grants her the appeal, all of this stops. Even the criminal, everything stops.
Really?
Yes.
Right. And that's what people don't understand. Because if, again, you can't, that's why they were doing the appeal. That's why everything has struggled on the way it did, quite frankly, because the appeal is kind of stopping everything. Because if they agree and overturn the appeal, then those charges don't stick.
Oh my wow.
Well,
Do you know what?
Hi,
though?
the
You know
judges
what?
basically, Sumner County has kind of had enough of
So,
the situation with Betty as it is.
Right.
That's why the judge said, we're not going to grant a continuance. We're going to move forward.
thank God it's taking forever. But it really needs to be put in her face.
We're going to kick this can. We're going to get down the road as far as we can go until we got to stop. Now, granted, when she goes before whatever judge for her criminal side,
Mm-hmm.
after the arraignment, what they probably will do is put a stay until the appeal is heard. Because if the appeal is heard, there's no point continuing on.
Right.
So that's probably what's going to happen.
I don't think it's likely that she'll win her appeal. She's
No.
kind of utilizing something that's meant for lawsuits, and I just don't see her winning that appeal on that basis. Although there could be a good argument for it. So I'm personally
No,
curious to see.
There's no argument, Granny. It's been a long time coming. She's done this
Well,
for years.
Right,
keep
but
in
they're
mind
not
the old
on
saying
YouTube.
that the sunshine shines on a dead dog's ass every once in a while. So you
Right.
never
That's
know.
the thing, isn't it?
They don't see everything we see. They only go off what is presented to them. So we have a different perspective.
True.
Excuse me. Yeah. You know what I mean? So what was that? When will we know if the appeal is granted?
Well, no. I mean, that's probably going to take a while. The appeals courts
They
don't
take
move very fast.
forever. Oh my God, they're slow. They're so slow.
Now, if I had to guess about the appeal, I'm sure that the appeals court's probably going to kick it back down to Judge Blanton again to have him do something in regards to the ruling, maybe make it a little bit more extensive on like what he meant this, or like what he was trying.
But then, we'll see. We'll find out. No big deal.
No, what's the saying? Ignorance is bliss. Well,
Yeah.
let him have it.
And can you imagine, Granny, going through what the Profoots are going through? I wouldn't want to imagine that.
Someone is not.
Like in court last time, he asked us, is hashtagging your name in a video, is that direct contact or indirect?
She said it is.
Yeah, she
Now-
herself said it's direct.
Exactly. She has a video that states that you hashtag me, that's direct access, and she's talking to somebody else. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander, apparently.
Yeah, babe.
But
Right.
Yeah.
he's trying to say it's not. Well, your client says it is.
Here's why I say it is, right? Well, it kind of depends to me, because if you at somebody, we get notified of the at, right? Now, if you're
Right.
hashtagging, it is more likely to come up in an algorithm. If it's your name, you're more likely to see it. So I personally would argue, I could argue on both sides, quite frankly. But just the fact that she couldn't conduct herself to not put that hashtag whatsoever. You know what I mean? That would be enough to be like, listen, this woman clearly has a defiance against authority in general and sees no reason to stop her behaviors, which is why she needs to be taught a lesson that these behaviors are unacceptable.
And Tennessee needs to send a clear message that you can't behave that way in our state and get away with it. That we protect families here that are not guilty of a crime.
Granny,
yeah.
because I'm really tired of everyone arguing about hashtags being a form of communication. Can I read something real quick?
If it's quick, Regina.
It is. It says,
All right.
it really is. It says, yes, using a
just kidding with you.
hashtag. I know you are. Yes, using a hashtag to communicate, to tag someone can be considered a form of communication, potentially violating no contact orders or other legal restrictions that prohibit
Yeah,
contact with a protected individual. Tagging informs the recipient that they have been tagged and that the sender was thinking of them. This differs from simply discussing someone without tagging them, which is less likely to be considered a communication. So there is that, folks.
Right. Right, because she's essentially, and not only that, not only does she tag you all, but she literally says,
Yes.
like, and she speaks as if she's speaking directly to you.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Like, she just, I can't stand her, though. So I don't know. I wouldn't be on that jury. I'd have to dismiss myself for prejudice. So shows her intent. Right. I mean, she speaks directly to them. That's where I would take issue with it. I mean, even today, her fucking title, like, oh my gosh, that woman just doesn't get it, man. She's just so brazen. I've never met somebody, again, so arrogantly wrong. But whatever.
I agree.
She has hashtagged them and puts a mark on their back. Right. She's inciting her audience is what she's doing. She knows what she's doing. And
Yep.
I don't know, in my order, it does say that. My order, the judge literally wrote that not only was the conduct harassing within itself, but it's also inciting an audience to react on their behalf. So, I mean, of course, we'll see and recognize that too.
Well, for those of there out there who want to live in this delusion that hashtagging someone is not a form of communication, for legal purposes, it absolutely is. And that's what matters, because Betty is being arrested. I mean, oh Lord, if only.
But it would depend
Yeah.
what state you read that from, to be honest, because not every state is up to date on
No,
online
Granny,
activities.
Granny,
Okay.
I googled hashtag months ago, and it says it's a form of communication.
Right, but again, depended on what state. Because what she read was law. She read it as if you have a protective order.
I
don't know. Maybe the attorney can bring that up in court. Have your attorney print out what Google said. Fucking bring that up.
No, but
Well,
why can't
here's
the
the
US?
problem with that. Okay,
Oh, thank you, Flo.
just because Google says it does not actually make it true.
Right.
You know, that's one thing I think a lot of people get so wrapped up on. Oh, well, it's on the internet, it must be true. Not the case.
No, I'm just wondering why US
No,
can't have
Google
the whole of
Live.
the US, and you have to have state laws.
Yes, individual states.
So think of it like this: you've got federal law that makes a state makes a law across the country. Boom. That is the minimum. States cannot make that law any lenient. They can make them stricter, but cannot make them any less lenient. So federal law sets the precedent. Hence, you cannot cyber bully. That is a federal crime.
Yeah, because the FBI and it's federal law, isn't it?
Well,
Not because of
FBI
the
is just a
FBI,
police
but
force.
yes.
They
Right.
just enforce laws. The law is set by Congress, Supreme Court, and the president. You've got your AG, which is Pam Bondi. Basically, she looks in all these cases. She upholds the law. She's the prosecuting attorney. FBI is the police force for the government.
And cyber law, cybercrime has to be reported to the FBI.
It doesn't have to be forwarded to the FBI. It can be forwarded to the state police, who then can turn it into the feds, and then they can then decide whether or not they want to prosecute it.
Right. Okay. It's just a higher state law, and I'm thinking, well, it should be the same law.
It's
around-
because the American government set up with counterbalances in place. The states set to counterbalance the feds, and at every level, there should be checks and balances. So that's kind of
Amen.
why it's that way.
That's what makes the United States
America.
so amazing in the process in which we have vices many other countries.
Yeah, and it can get complicated, especially if you're maybe not used to it, but it is set up that way for a reason. You know, especially when it was a time when so many people didn't live in cities. You know, now it's like at least 50% of people live in cities, but used to, there were a lot more folks in rural areas, and it was important to represent all the different forms of life, because an agrarian society is a lot different than an industrialized one or a digital one, and it's just so many different interests to take into account. So that's why it exists that way, you know, because like Nebraska is a hell of a lot different state than New York, for instance, or Texas is a lot different than Maine. So,
Well, like
Give
PA has one of the most strictest free speech rules under the Constitution compared to most states. And that's why some states are considered Commonwealth. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. And Angel's not from the U.S., so it's okay that she's asking questions, guys. But she does have a sweet voice, very sweet voice. But yeah, it's a learning curve. Not everybody, not many people even know their local laws, and it's unfortunate that we have not. Although our states may have written in about cyberbullying and all these things, it's really not. They're not that well versed in it at all.
I'm learning. It's like with Florida, you can learn everything about anybody in Florida. It's all like open. But then
Oh my God.
with the Minnesota, they've made
Jesus
laws
Christ.
where
Sorry.
it's not going to be
Sorry, 1
public.
second.
And here in UK, we always just say we're 10 years behind the US. Now we're miles ahead when it comes to this YouTube and cyber crimes. You can't be saying crap and talking lies about people. It's not allowed.
I didn't say Jesus Christ to all of you. I turned around and my sister was standing there. She scared the shit out of me. I wasn't saying that towards you, Angel. I just wanted to clarify that. Hey, Stain Outlaw. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting because I feel like what Betty's doing will be precedent setting, what you guys are doing, if you will, because Betty is trying to utilize something that's meant for lawsuits in regards to a restraining order. And I don't know how the courts are going to, visit that, if you will.
Yeah, a precedent to make a change so it doesn't happen to the next family.
Well, and what people don't understand is, her speech, people, Betty keeps
I
arguing
mean,
she has a
that would
freedom.
be nice. That would be nice if there is almost like a reset to bring people back to some form of reality. Like, stop doing stupid stuff.
Right.
This whole at night Nick shit, Granny barbecue, this Rico nonsense garbage. It's all being head up by, you got Hong who lives in his mom or uncle's basement, and you got another one who's a parolee. You got Dog who's a has-been.
Oh.
I mean,
Betty with 4 ROs.
Chris, who do you think's the puppet master?
I missed out for that, but
I don't even
it's
think
very
that's
clear who the master is on this deal.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, what it is, though, is that it's quite ironic if you look at the overall picture that they're projecting what they're doing, right? And then even, for example, for them to file a gag order to a slap suit while Betty's over there trying to.
Parents, their order of protection. So she is
it's out there.
aware. She is.
Issues, quite frankly, I would think, because one of the big things with an RO is you're not allowed to speak about that person any longer. And if she wins on that ground, that because it wasn't just Betty speaking, and I think that's what people fail to realize too. She's not doing what you or I or any of us are doing, where we sit up here and we speak. She went to their neighborhood. She followed their parents. She went on their property.
She did more than that.
Yes, yeah.
Betty trespassed, stepped foot on my property.
Mm-hmm.
My property has signs all the way around it that says, "Do not trespass. Trespassers will be prosecuted." It does state that.
Okay.
She violated it. She came on my property to hang a flyer of my son on a pole.
Yeah.
That's
And
also
then-
against the law too, right? Hanging on the pole.
Yeah, you're not
Yes.
supposed to do that because you
Right,
can
then
cause
you are
harm
not.
to utility workers. Now, is there an easement?
No.
No. I don't have an easement for the public. I have an easement for utility workers. Betty is not a utility worker.
Mm.
I
She's
tried
not
to
a
tell her
lineman.
that. To
She
be
may
fair.
she may claim she was in a past life. That woman experienced it all. She just may come out and say she was.
But on top of it, not only do you do that, then we have proof where douchebag Tony Mathis, who sends her a $50
Mhm.
Cash App, Venmo, whatever the hell it is, beat up B-Sox, steak dinner on him, basically.
Yep.
Okay, so that right there is against her.
Mm-hmm.
Then she goes to the exact location. Now, granted, let's even say it's out of the hypothetical sense that she just happened to pull in the parking lot
Or let's
where
say
my
that,
stepdad is inside of a store before she's even in the parking lot.
right. Well, but
He's
we also
shopping.
have proof. We have proof that Julie Valente said that Terry Lynn was following your parents around on Betty's behalf so that Betty would know where they were.
Well, keep in mind that is all hearsay. You've got one person saying that she said another person. That's hearsay.
Yeah.
So try to eliminate from that from the whole situation. But Betty's in the parking lot. She has an encounter with a sheriff's department. My stepdad leaves the store, drives past her car, happens to stop, sees it, takes a picture, proceeds on. Never got out of the car. Pulls up to a red light. She flips out, gets in her car, drives erratically like an idiot through the parking lot, gets up behind him in the middle of traffic, gets out of her car, and proceeds to scream at him while standing in a grassy median.
With your face on her shirt.
Yes, with my face on a green shirt.
Mhm.
Can anyone, can law enforcement do discovery and find out who sent her that information of his stepfather's car, or who sent her the photo of his child, your daughter?
No, the law enforcement isn't going to do that, unfortunately. There is a question because, quite frankly, Chris wasn't even done explaining everything.
Yeah.
But somebody did ask, well, who's horrible audio? Touch grass. That's you. Make sure you turn down your volume a
Girl,
little bit.
I'm muted. I've been
Okay,
muted.
it was probably Angel again. Well, somebody said, well, I'm just fucking with the Angel. Somebody said, well, why be mad over that? And because Chris didn't get to finish what he was saying, because we're excited to ask him questions, you're telling me, Allie, you wouldn't be mad over everything you just heard thus far, and that's not even the conclusion yet? Do you know that Chris's father at that point would have, Chris and his father at that point would have had every right to defend themselves? She's on their property. On top of that, we're not even at, yeah, go ahead.
Well, hold on, Grant. Let me help you out on something. So to help answer that young lady's question, it's real simple. This lady drove over 12 hours from her house, drove up here to my house to intentionally do the things that she did. Why? When you make a video that says that you're going to crawl so far up my ass that she'll see papples, that's pretty direct. And I'm very pro Second Amendment. So is my whole family. So is the state of Tennessee.
I was about to say that. So is Seth Rogers when he's asking others to buy him guns. Sorry. I had to
It's a straw purchase, you know, hey, but
but I mean, and that is the thing. Like Betty, they can all pretend in their world that Betty was there to search for Sebastian, but we know she was not.
Now keep in mind, okay,
You're welcome,
what Granny was saying about defending ourselves. We have to make sure that we feel that we are in grave danger.
You forgot something.
Okay, so no, we're not just gonna do.
Betty also went to his shop. Betty also went to his shop.
Do stupid things without having fully acknowledged and assessing the situation before doing something.
If an
Now,
Eileen
granted-
Wuornos lookalike bitch came on my property snooping around, I would feel in grave danger.
Well, it's not even
we have
for-
we have measures in place. We have security systems and things like that.
Right, because of people
And
like
Glue
that.
can tell you, and I mean, there's plenty of people out here who can tell you, if you want to have a discussion, I will have a discussion with you.
Well,
Just don't be stupid.
for me, when I watched that video of Betty, right, like where she's confronting your stepdad, it almost like you gotta understand that she's coming out of the car and she's holding this phone in front of her.
Right.
What if I don't have good eyesight and I mistake that for a weapon?
That's what I say.
Right.
There's been cases where that has actually happened.
I mean, even road rage in general, that happens, especially a lot in my area. On top of that, you have a woman jumping out at a red light.
No.
I would be afraid. Thank God. And he kept his composure. I don't know how people, I don't know, the delusions of some people just baffles me, but he remained very kind and steadfast in his, like, what do you mean? How am I following you?
Yeah, you're behind me.
You're behind me.
How else are you supposed to interpret someone coming at you like that other than a genuine threat, in my opinion? I mean, what else are you supposed to do?
Right.
You know, and it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman in a vehicle. If someone gets out of their vehicle and approaches you screaming at you and acting irate at a traffic light, you're going to be afraid, period.
Well, and not only that, but, and I'll ask your question in a minute, Snazzy. If Chris, if you can see the screen now, if you know the answer. But I'm so tired of people saying, well, we know that Chris isn't afraid of Betty. Come on now. Chris isn't afraid of Betty. And I get so sick of hearing that, because when you think of ROs or protective orders, you do think that, oh, it has to be the worst case scenario, which is the worst case scenario. You know what I mean? But it doesn't have to just be Betty. Again, it's the audience that she is inciting.
Here's the thing too, is that with her behavior, it's progressive. So she's shown at this point to move from talking about the case online to, you know, heavy criticism, slander, to going there in person, to going on property, to showing up outside stuff. Then there's a confrontation and she starts talking about guns and machetes.
Right.
So if somebody will drive 14 hours from their home to stalk you at your local grocery trip, why would you assume? I mean, how do you know where the line is? Like, at that point, you can't take risks because they have a proven pattern of behavior where they're continually escalating because she can't calm herself.
Plus,
you leave
her
no
record,
choice.
her record
Yeah.
is extensive.
52 arrests or some shit like that.
I think it's
mean,
like 42.
Well, whatever it is, it's an insanely high number. You know,
Most of it pertaining to DV, where she did abuse her ex-husband.
Yes.
So don't say
Yes.
that a man can't be afraid of a woman. That's bullshit.
Well, act like a woman's never hurt or killed. I mean, we're in
Hey,
the true
guys.
crime community, for God's sakes.
We all know she looks just like Eileen Wuornos. And how many men did she take out?
Once, provided she abides by the law.
The truly sad part to me.
There's even a little bit more to it than just that.
Guys, I'm so sorry. I am going to go. I'm getting tired. And I don't want to fall asleep on you. And I really need to go. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I'm getting so tired and it's hard to keep my eyes open. So I'll be back tomorrow. Bye.